Earlier this month, President Donald Trump signed his big, beautiful bill into law, making way for some sweeping changes throughout the country. And joining us today to talk about that bill and some other subjects is Illinois Representative from the 18th District, Republican Congressman Darin LaHood. Representative, thanks once again for joining us this morning.
Good to be with you, Dana.
Let's start with what you are hearing from people in your district, especially after the big, beautiful bill was signed by the president.
Well, Dana, thanks for having me. I think the signing of the one big, beautiful bill, I think, has given some optimism for the economy. If you go back and look at the election last November, I think there were two core issues: fixing the economy and fixing the unmitigated disaster at our southern border and illegal immigration. And what we tried to do in the one big beautiful bill is bring certainty and predictability, particularly on the tax front. How do we help working families by giving them more of their tax money back? How do we let the private sector flourish so we can have wages rise for workers? How do we help small and medium-sized businesses as they continue to grow? So things like research and development tax credit, things like the affordable housing tax credit that allows people to have workforce housing or affordable housing.
But Representative Congressman, there are cuts as well, including to Medicaid. More than, as I understand it, more than 140,000 people in your district alone receive those benefits. And I know you say, well, hey, what we're doing here is we're just making sure that people who can work, who are currently on Medicaid, get a job. And they're fine, but that's assuming all these folks can get jobs. So what do you tell people in your district or across the state who are really concerned about these, pending cuts to Medicaid?
Yeah, Dana, thanks for asking. And I've talked to many of my constituents about this. Medicaid is not going to be affected for, say, a working mom that has young children on Medicaid. That does not change. Or if you have a child with adult disabilities or a child with disabilities, that does not change. But what will change is we move 1.7 million people that are illegals off Medicaid. We also move 4.8 million people across the country that are able-bodied adults. Now, how do you move people into jobs? We have 7 million unfilled jobs in the country right now. And what we're saying is we're going to transition you through work requirements and other opportunities to get off of Medicaid and get a job into one of those. So that is a Medicaid cut. But the people that rely on Medicaid, if you're a senior on a fixed income, your Medicaid does not change. But you're exactly right, Dana. If you're an able-bodied adult and you don't have dependents and you're on Medicaid now, we want to get you into a job. And that's what we're transitioning people to do. So people can look at that as a cut or saving taxpayer money.
I want to ask you one more question, too, about something that's been kind of top of mind, if you will, for lots of lawmakers on both sides of the aisle in the last couple of weeks, and that is the discussion around the Jeffrey Epstein Files and the cases. I know that the House Speaker sent y'all home before he might have called a vote on whether to release more Epstein documents based on a petition that a lot of lawmakers tell me would have had the required amount of signatures to have him call this vote. Where do you stand on that issue? Do you believe that there should be a vote that on the Epstein Files and that more information should be released?
Well, Dana, as a former state and federal prosecutor, I think we need full transparency here. We need to get to the bottom of the evidence here. We need to see the flight logs. We need to see the evidence. We need to see the people that are on those lists. Those are a number of the issues that when President Trump ran for office, he talked about. I think we have an obligation and responsibility to have accountability and where people engaged in criminal activity, they need to be held accountable on that. That is the role that I take very seriously as a member of Congress, again, as a former prosecutor. And I hope that's the direction we go in a bipartisan way moving forward. I will also say, Dana, some of my Democrat friends that are calling for this now, it needs to be mentioned, though, for 4 years under the Biden administration, they had the opportunity under their DOJ to release all this information, to have it go out to the public. That never happened.
Well, it was also, though, a Republican-controlled Congress as well during the Biden administration, too, so for most of it. So, I mean, it's easy to throw stones at each other, but I think what we need to focus on is the here and now, and that's why I wanted to ask you that question. And I know our time went very, very quickly, Congressman. As always, we appreciate it, and we really do appreciate you agreeing to come on because you represent the Republican Party, and a lot of the folks up here are elected Democrats, so we appreciate your insight.